Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson along with Andrew Bone. And Jake Pope has just committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Bone, let's dive into it. But first, Bone just welcomed in a baby boy. So congratulations, a new father. He's got his hands full, but carving out some time to talk recruiting, man. So congratulations, Bone, on the new addition.
Yeah, thank you. We're super excited and can't wait for. We couldn't wait for this journey to start. Now it's here, and obviously, for the parents out there, they know what it's like the first few days, first few weeks, probably first few months, and the rest of their lives. So we're looking forward to it, and trying to catch up on a little bit of sleep here and there, but it's hard to do. But yeah, that's why I'm wearing the blue today. I'm not wearing the blue for Jake Pope committing to North Carolina. He committed to the University of Alabama this evening. So obviously, big commitment for Alabama, and another addition for the Tide staff. And this is a kid that we've talked about for a long time. I remember back during the spring, we were talking about him back, really before that, probably back in like February. We started really talking about Jake Pope as a potential target for the Crimson Tide. And then, Alabama really kind of stepped things up with him. And I always kind of look at draft night. Who does Nick Saban talk to on draft night? And obviously, the list kind of changes as the months go on and we get into the summer and you get evaluations done. But once you kind of get into the early spring, mid spring, and Coach Saban starts reaching out to you on the night of the draft, you're a top target for Alabama. You're wanted by Alabama. So Jake Pope was one of those guys that talked to Coach Saban the night of the NFL draft, along with several other top DB targets. And we knew that Alabama was heavily pushing for him, and they really wanted him as a part of its recruiting class. This is a kid who had the top five: Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, North Carolina, Georgia. In the end, it came down to Alabama and North Carolina. Those are schools that were, really pushing the hardest for him. North Carolina treated him as really a top priority, for a long time. And I think that's kind of why he decided to hold off a little bit. We felt like after his official visit to Alabama in late June, that a commitment was imminent, that he was going to make a decision, pretty soon, and he decided to hold off. And I think a lot of that had to do with North Carolina's push for him. He ended up taking a visit back over to Georgia in late July, and of course, when he took that visit, he had kind of come out and said prior to that he was going to make a private commitment, within the week. And then make a public commitment within a few weeks. And then he took that visit to Georgia, and everybody just assumed, okay, well, it's done. He committed to Georgia, and he really tipped his hand in that direction when he took that visit. But from what we were talking about, from what we were hearing, what we were talking from talking to different people, that really didn't matter. He had not privately committed yet. He was, wanting to see Georgia one more time, and then, in the end, as we said, it really came down to Alabama and North Carolina for Jake Pope, who measured in at about 6 feet, maybe a little bit over 6 feet tall, 180 pounds during his official visit at Alabama. I've seen this wide range of sizes for him. Some sites have him at 6'2", some have him at 6'1", but I think he's kind of in between 6 foot and 6'1" right now, 180 pounds. As you see from the highlight film, this is a guy who plays all three phases of the game. He plays on offense, plays defense, also plays on special teams, punt return, kick return. Very explosive athlete, and certainly somebody that Alabama targeted, wanted, but specifically wanted as a defensive back. He's recruited as a safety. I know a lot of people list him as an athlete. He's listed as an athlete on Rivals, and a lot of people have said, well, he could play wide receiver at Alabama. That's not really the position they recruited him to play. They recruited him to play safety, and I thought Charles Kelly did a tremendous job recruiting him, Alabama's safeties coach, who was also his area recruiter. So he developed a great relationship with Charles Kelly throughout the entire process, and he ends up getting his guy. So big commitment for Alabama today in Jake Pope.
Here with Andrew Bone, talking about the recent commitment of Jake Pope to the Crimson Tide. Bone, along with Jake Pope, I mean, we're now in the middle of August. You know, the season's right around the corner. If we could talk some other targets to kind of keep tabs on as we go into, the first month of the high school football season, and also with the college football season right around the corner, who are some other key targets that Alabama Crimson Tide football fans should know about?
Yeah, I'll talk defensive backs real quick, just because Alabama now has two defensive back commitments with Jake Pope, Antonio Kite. Tremendous safety class. Two guys that they heavily wanted, and got commitments from both of these guys. So they're excited about getting Jake Pope and Antonio Kite on board. So who's going to be that next defensive back to jump on board? I think they're probably going to sign 4 defensive backs, maybe 5, depending on who they can potentially land. But I think they certainly want to get 4 in this recruiting class. The next potential defensive back who's going to make a decision is Denver Harris, 5-star out of the Houston area at North Shore High School. Alabama's signed a North Shore High School athlete the last 2 years. Can they make it 3 in a row by getting Denver Harris? This is certainly a big-time target for them, 5-star defensive back, and certainly somebody that has been at the top, right at the top of Alabama's recruiting board for a very, very long time. I think there's a great chance that that Denver Harris ends up in Alabama's recruiting class. Another defensive back that obviously they're still going after is Earl Little Jr., Rivals 100 DB out of American Heritage High School down in Plantation, Florida. Visited Alabama twice during the summer. Also plans on visiting for the Alabama-Miami game. Not visiting, but attending the Alabama-Miami game over in Atlanta from Miami. But I think I got a feeling he's going to be cheering on the Tide here in the next couple of weeks. So we'll be watching Earl Little Jr. And there's obviously some other defensive backs out there. Damani Jackson, 5-star from California, who's committed to USC, who's planning on making an official to Alabama in November. We'll be watching him. Austin Osbury, defensive back out of Louisiana, who received an offer from the Crimson Tide during the summer. Another guy that we're going to continue to watch, because I think Alabama really likes him a lot as well. So those are some of the top DBs that are still out there. In terms of guys who could be making decisions soon that we're watching very closely, I mentioned Denver Harris earlier. I also think that Justice Finkley, in-state defensive lineman, is getting pretty close to making a decision. You'll probably see something from him sometime in September. Barry Brown, wide receiver out of Nashville, also a big target for Alabama, who's probably going to be making a decision, relatively soon. Elijah Pritchett, offensive lineman out of Georgia, going to be making a commitment probably in late September. Wants to take in some college games in September before he makes that decision. But he told me he's going to get to Alabama, USC, Georgia, and Florida State one more time. I think it's more right now between Alabama and Florida State for Elijah Pritchett. But those are some, really some of the top names that we can see making decisions relatively soon.
Well, good stuff, Bone. Well, Jake Pope is on board for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Bone, try to get some rest. Recruiting doesn't stop, so kind of sleep in and out when you can. And, we appreciate you. And we also appreciate you, fam, for watching our videos. So definitely hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Go to BamaInsider.com. Read some great written content from the staff. Tony Sukalis has put together some really good stuff regarding Jake Pope. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time right here on BamaInsider.com.